Happy Friday, September 15th. It's Chris and Mark with the NWA Exchange Podcast, the only podcast you need to be listening to know everything about Bella Vista and then some, son. Hope everybody had a great week. The temperatures have been bearable. We've got a pretty good show for you tonight. Local updates, national updates. Let's get into it right now. What's going on, homie, pal of mine?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Man, it's going. It seems like I just saw you yesterday for some reason. Oh, man. A lot going on this week, man. Things are ramping up in the political spectrum, in the DOJ spectrum, the global spectrum, everything, man. Everything's starting to come to a head, I think. People in the streets of New York City protesting like, man, you would think it was a Trump rally or something. But
hey, you know, it's crazy. The temperature's getting cooler, but it's heating up out there.
Oh, yeah, it is. It really is. But before we get into some of those topics, man, we have some local updates. We got some stuff that's going on locally in the upcoming weekends. We want to make sure everybody gets that on their calendars, puts it on their radar, and takes part of these awesome community events such as Benton County Fair, Format Festival, Dog Days of Summer. That's coming up next weekend. Lots going on, man. So
yeah, great time of the year too, Chris, with the weather, man. The only bummer is the days are getting shorter, man. So it's gonna start getting darker earlier, but I'll take it, man. It was beautiful today.
Yeah.
It was low 80s.
I'd have loved to have
this morning's
this.
in the 60s.
I would have loved to have this weather during Amped, man. It was so hot, dude. It was so
I know,
hot, man.
I know. They just need to move it. I think you said maybe move it out another 3 weeks or something like that. Would be awesome.
I think moving it after the county fair would be like the best, right? Because basically we could prime everybody up that's going to the county fair for Amped, and then it happens the following weekend. I think that would be one of the best moves that we could do. We're looking into it as a team. There's a lot of there's a survey out there. If you attended Amped, Amped Electric Games has a survey link out on their social media pages. Go and take the survey if you attended. If you raced, go and take the survey as well. We always look for constructive criticism and feedback to make events better. And as a year 2 event, we're trying to make this, a year 3, 2 times as better as year 2. So,
yeah.
All right, man. Well, let's get into the local yokel stuff, man.
Yeah. Like you just mentioned, Benton County Fair from September 26th to September 30th. It's going to be a good time out there. So they have rides, they have livestock shows. Check out their Facebook page.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going on. So the gate fees are $10 to $15 for fair goers during the operating hours in the late afternoons up to 10, 11 o'clock. So carnival rides, all that stuff,
Yeah.
Fill your face with all that food.
Deep fried food. No testicles, though. No testicles. Man. No, that was the Testy Fest. So, if you want that type of food, you're going to have to come a few weeks earlier.
Yeah. So if you go in the morning, there's no charge, obviously, late afternoon and the events start coming out and there's music and all kinds of stuff, and the fees will start, charging at the gate. So
yeah.
Dog Days of Summer, man. We talked about this, and coming up Saturday, September 23rd. So it's right around the corner from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Bring your dog out. If you're new to the area, it's really neat to check out. Dogs have a lot of fun. Great opportunity if you like to take pictures, or have a nice camera.
Just make sure your dog is socialized and a dog that can be around other dogs, man, because
that's a very good point.
I mean, dude, we went for a ride last Sunday down the Greenway, all the way up Slaughter Pen, and the amount of people who have dogs that aren't really used to being on a trail system where there's people riding by on bikes and one wheels and scooters and stuff like that, and they got them on these long leashes and stuff, and I mean, they're creating a hazard just by taking their dog out on. If your dog doesn't have proper training, then it probably shouldn't be out on the Greenway where there's a lot of people around. We ride one wheels, me and my son. My wife rides her e-bike. Dogs, pulling on their owner's leashes, or they have those, they're on those super long leashes coming across. I mean, you're just creating a hazard for people riding these devices. And I've been out at Lake Bella Vista, man. where people have had their dogs off the leash, and they've come barreling down the trail right behind me, and that's just not a good situation, especially when you're on a one-wheeled self-balancing device moving 18 miles an hour.
And
right?
that thing's like a missile. If it hits a 25, 30 pound, even a $50 dog, it'll hurt it bad.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just wish there would be more responsible pet owners to say, man, my dog's not the best dog. I'll take it to the bark park, let it get socialized. But as far as walking, keep them on a tight leash,
Yeah. Yeah, the retractable leashes, unfortunately, you just let them go. Then if you're not paying attention, you're talking to someone, like you said, they take off, wrap around someone, or someone's coming the other way. What I usually do with my dogs, man, is if they get ahead of me or start pulling, I completely ignore them and change another direction.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden they're going one way, then they figure out, oh, he's going this way. Until they start walking next to me, I continue to do that. And it's hard. It's real hard with pugs because their attention span's just horrible.
Well, they're looking two different directions too, man.
They got those walleyes, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very, very true. I tell them, look at me when I'm talking to you, man.
Which eye? They turn their head.
I know.
Look at me. I can only use one eye, man.
I used to have a science teacher, John Romashko. He had eyes like that, right? And people would be making fun of me, and he'd be like looking at me, goes, Jimmy, I could see you in a corner over there. And his eyes were like this. Man.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but no, that's just it's. I mean, just remember, they welcome in your dogs, but obviously use common sense. People, your dogs have to be socialized to be around other dogs, and you don't want to create an incident when there's a dog fight at a pool.
A dog fight or someone gets bit, then it just and it puts everybody in a bad situation, including your pet. So, all right, buddy, Format Festival 2023, September 22nd through the 24th, 2 to 11. 3-day festival of music, art, and technology.
Nice. Yep, that's coming around the corner, man. Coming around the corner.
And there's a couple. The big. I guess the header there for music will be Alanis Morissette and
Modest Mouse. Alanis Morissette. Modest Mouse. Modest Mouse is good. I don't know about these like the Friday stuff. I've not heard of any of that. It must be DJs. I'm not in the DJ scene.
No.
A little too old for that, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man, check it out. There's a lot of good opportunities to go out and enjoy this festival of art, music, and interpretive. I mean, it's the arts, man, right? Visual and performing arts, interpretive dancing, man. Like that's always interesting to watch too. So, all right, moving on from Format Festival. We got
the infant safety CPR class. Again, a good opportunity to take advantage of this if you have young kids. They already did the first one on September 6th, but there's 3 more left, October 11th, November 8th, and December 6th. Location for that class would be Northwest Medical Center is Bentonville, 3000 Medical Center Parkway. So good opportunity to get out there and check it out. It runs from 5:30 to 7 p.m. So. And deer season, man, kicks off September 23rd, right around the corner is archery. So we'll run the 23rd to February 29th. So then you have muzzleloader and private land Angeles modern gun hunt. So more information, check out agfc.com website. Get you more detail there.
All right.
And we have the work session, buddy. We're going to get into a little bit of that city council business, and the work session is going to take place this coming Monday, and we'll have a pretty good idea how they're going to lay out the regular meeting the following week, which will be, the work session will be running from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. over at the 2483 Forest Hills Boulevard, and the following week, September 25th, will be the regular session, which will be from 6:30 to 8:30. I'm sure there'll be a lot of conversation going on there. With a lot of changes with the residential and commercial we've been discussing. Mm-hmm. If you want to come out and you're new to the area, by all means come out. If you would like to talk, get out there earlier, probably 6 o'clock, sign up. Should be interesting.
Don't forget, also on Monday the 18th, there is Lunch with Planners. Help us celebrate Septic Smart Week with your quarterly public engagement session. Meet your Bella Vista City planners, engage in insightful discussions, and enjoy pizza as a community. Don't miss out on this opportunity to make a cleaner difference in your community. Eat pizza, poop in the sewer, the sewer facilities, and talk about septic safety.
You just add a little bit extra in there, man.
Well, I mean, like, let's have lunch with it. Let's have a pizza party and talk about fecal storage containers. That sounds like a freaking good time right there, man.
Yeah, those two just don't go together, do they?
No, they don't. But you know, city planner is going to plan, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
All right, man.
So, farmers market, buddy. We're getting down towards the end. We only got probably another 6-7 weeks, I'd say, and that'll be it for the season. I'm not sure how it's going on over there. If anybody's been over there, I think I could get over there for a little bit, but I haven't been over there.
I'll be honest. I have not been down there. We were down there on Sunday. We saw some people, but it was like at the tail end. It didn't look very busy. Yeah, it didn't look very busy.
I'm wondering if the turnout is any better than it was up in Lancashire, you know.
Well, it's kind of tucked there in the back of Mercy, you know, so it's you know, I don't know if it's like just kind of a missed opportunity or what. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they plan to do next year, though.
Yeah, well, we'll see, I guess. $10, buddy. Roll it in.
There we go.
Man, look at whole half boneless ribeyes, $5.97 a pound. Everybody else out there is $14.99 a pound, man. Yeah. Unbelievable, dude. Unbelievable. Freeze these because we got hard times coming. I don't know if you noticed this, Chris, but the gas prices are going through the roof again. Yeah. They're increasing food prices again. I mean, it's getting out of hand, man. We're getting back into that arena again.
And on top of it, the administration started trying to impose stricter restrictions for tractor-trailer drivers, truck drivers.
I saw that,
and which is that all it's going to do is offset the cost to the consumer, the person purchasing it. So the more restrictions and more over regulations that we do on things that are critical to our supply chain and our infrastructure, it's just going to pass that money back off to you, because I guarantee the corporations are not going to corporations are not going to lose like money because of
all goes back in the cost of goods, Chris.
Look at the average cost of a vehicle right now. You and I were having this discussion. The average cost of a vehicle, right? It's just insane. It's unfathomable, right? $50,000, $60,000. You want a pickup truck? $80,000, $90,000, man.
Yeah, a loaded one. Yeah.
Why is that? Because of all this government regulations. You have to build in these GPS tracking systems and the ability to shut down the vehicle if police need to do it, and all this smart technology, right? Which isn't smart at all, right? Find you a beater off Craigslist. Keep that sucker running, man.
Yeah. Man, with all these increases in inflation with food and gas and just services in general, it's almost like they're trying to kill the middle class, Chris.
Yeah. Well, if you ain't middle class, I don't even know how you're doing it, man. With food prices, I really don't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, food is not something that you can skimp on, man. You can be frugal, and that's why we do the $10 plus cost, right?
Yeah.
Is because we try to show that there's opportunities out here for people to get bulk meat proteins, right? And it's not just proteins. We talk about the proteins the most because we're meatitarians, but this whole pork butts, 2 per package. This is typically, I want to say 2 11 to 12 pound pork butts, right?
Yeah.
That will feed your family. I mean, you can have pork, once or twice a week. Pulled pork sandwiches once or twice a week, for 2 months, man. If you portion it out right.
And the thing what's happening now too, Chris, is the restaurants, their portion sizes have gone down dramatically and prices have gone up.
Yeah.
So
60,
your
family of 4 or $60 at Taco Bell, man.
Yeah.
And you pay for it when you get home, man.
$10 worth of toilet paper.
Exactly, man.
Oh man. All right, you said pork butts 2-pack, $1.28 a pound. Great deal right there, man.
Yeah.
$73.27, $2.58 a pound. We're right around the cold season, man. Put it aside. Make spaghetti sauce. You can make burgers. You can make meatballs. There's all kinds of
Hey,
stuff
thanks for
you
the
can
like,
make.
Robin. We appreciate that.
There's 100 things you can make. Drumsticks, 60 cents a pound, can't beat it, dude.
Yeah.
IQF boneless chicken breast, 2.5 pound bag, $3.95. Clementines, $2.98 for a 3 pound bag. Cucumbers, 58 cents a pound, and sweet onion, 68 cents each. So
I know, man.
good stuff there.
Great deals this week, man. Always great deals at that store.
Yeah.
So there was an update this week, man. I believe it was Wednesday. There was a short-term rental hearing. This was specifically on the contempt. The plaintiff side, said that there was a when they reenacted the ordinance, when they repealed the original ordinance that was determined unconstitutional, the city immediately went into like a quick emergency session and passed a very similar ordinance, but removed some things. The verbiage in the new ordinance was exactly the same, and they used the emergency powers to immediately pass it. The plaintiff's side of this lawsuit said that this basically is the same ordinance with a different number. And I don't care what anybody says, man. You can slap lipstick on a pig; it's still a pig, right? There was really no thought processes that went into the new ordinance, and they basically did this to
it's out of spite.
just to play games with the court system and
Right.
still retain the money that they, this is all money driven. The money that the city's just greedy. They want that money, right? So they can hold pizza parties and talk about septic systems. I don't know, but the hearing took place on the 13th, which was Wednesday, and the judge basically threw out the contempt. Said it's not contempt. We can't. That would be me legislating from the bench. We can't do that. However, there's 30 days for both sides to file motions, and then there will be a trial date set. And this is on basically the damages. Equitable relief damages, of rights of illegal exaction, et cetera, right? So once that trial takes place, man, we're going to figure out, how much money is on the hook. At the last city council meeting, the city attorney didn't anticipate any damages being paid out. I don't know if it's going to trial, bro. I think that there's a good possibility of damages being paid out. Especially for the people who went and did all these crazy modifications on their house just to be told that, well, your house still isn't good enough. And,
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying? This was
be a
unnecessary.
We've been down this road. We know how this process goes, and eventually they'll just fold because they're going to pay it out. You want to puff out your chest like you got some cards you're holding. We know you're holding. The Bass Man's holding 2 doses.
The Bass
okay.
Man. Yeah. Bassmaster,
Ed
Bassmaster, man. Oh man, but yeah, no, it's just
it's
gonna.
Not about a question to them. It's just the amount. That's all it's going to come down to. That's what it's going to come back to at this point. We already know that rights have been infringed upon. We already know that.
Yeah, they basically admitted that whenever they pulled the old ordinance, when they just dropped the old ordinance and then passed off the new lipstick with the pig with lipstick.
Right.
And so there are questions off, because the city, I think, with this, when them not being held in contempt, I think that they're going to be hard charging to start enforcing that ordinance that they passed. This has basically empowered them and emboldened them so that now we can start going after short-term rentals that are, hold on a second, I got to check something. Okay, we're good. That people who are operating short-term rentals waiting on the final status of this whole court hearing, because there was a motion for a temporary restraining order, right?
Right.
But being that they went ahead and went around the system and passed a new ordinance with a couple of things, I think motions would have to be filed again for the new ordinance. And obviously a temporary restraining order to basically put the kibosh on that one. So I think that this is going to embolden the city to start taking action on people who are operating short-term rentals currently without their permits. And I think that we'll start seeing that happen in the near future. So look forward to more, harassment, because you want to use your property as you see fit. Luckily, you don't have to worry about inspectors coming in. So if you do choose to go and do the file for the permit, I believe that there's been 290 issued. Was the last number that I got. So there are still plenty available. And I would just say that do what's in your heart. Do what's in your heart.
Yeah.
Keep on throwing money at these people so they can keep spending it, and then still look at raising your taxes.
It's not going to stop.
It's not.
We'll just find other things to do. I mean, we've seen this time and time again, right? So hopefully we'll get some closure on it. But I think this is going to be a few-year battle. I think this thing's just going to run its course, man, like the other one.
Another topic of concern is the fact that these were deemed unconstitutional. The original ordinance was deemed unconstitutional. So anybody who had their rights violated and infringed upon, they also, I believe, have the ability, because once you cross a constitutional line, right, then the qualified immunity kind of gets thrown out of the window. And so I do believe that there is the option for each individual city council member to be sued individually, and not really suing the city as well. So that is, I believe, something that people are looking into as well. So we'll just have to see what happens, man. I really think that it's time that we probably reach out to the plaintiff's attorney at some point and try to find out what are the avenues that this can go, because as taxpayers, this impacts all of us.
For sure.
And so, it's either resources spent or resources lost. And the city is not going to do without, you're going to do without, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't learned anything enough yet after, the past 3-4 years, is you can do without, but the government's going to still keep charging for it.
Right.
So.
Well, that's why. I mean, the defense in the city doesn't care because it's taxpayer money anyways. They're not footing the bill, Chris. That's where the problem is,
Well, and I hope that there's some teeth on the commentary about, that they can be held personally accountable, because that's one thing that you and I have talked about previously on other shows is if you are in a position of public trust and you take an oath of office and you're a public servant and you do something that directly impacts the people's money, right, because you're a bonehead or you have an agenda behind it, then you should be held personally accountable, because you made the decision. You didn't make the decision on the behalf of the general public, the whole constituency, right? The constituency as a whole. You made it on behalf of an agenda, and it's evident that with the same players showing up and complaining about short-term rentals, it's the same 5 to 7 people. It's a little clique. Basically providing interference and supporting narratives for them to justify their actions, the city's actions. So that's the way I view it, and I'm entitled to my opinion.
Right, you are. I mean, until someone's held personally accountable for it, I mean, it's going to be the same old, because it's easy to spend someone else's money, man,
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, even some of the personalities, if you watch these city council meetings, the personalities even play out. You have basically one city council member, Jerry Snow, who has kind of been a voice for people and their property rights. And you've had the same, 5 to 6 people show up, specifically one basically publicly shaming him at a city council meeting, saying, you're done. I'm going to make sure you never get elected again. You're not right. Blah, 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 right? But even like other city council members down talking him, and the city attorney interrupting them whenever he's just making a statement. And this happened at the last city council meeting. And I want to pull this up because I want people to kind of understand that, like, if you don't toe the party line as a public servant, you basically get shut down, which is not right. It's not right for these other councilmen to sit there and do this month after month after month, right? But I do like the way that Jerry handled himself. All right, so this was on a vote for more new trails, even though that the people of Bella Vista took a survey from the POA and said, I think we're good, bro. I think we're good.
I think we
for
had a
now anyway,
76%, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like
it was a
70-something
good
percent.
sized turnout too. But it's like I think we're good, but no, you didn't want it, but you're getting it anyway. So, but the city obviously has to sign off on this too because they're in a shared agreement for trail maintenance, right? So the trail building is free, right? But then the maintenance becomes partially the cities and then the POAs, right? And so that trail maintenance, it's going to add up over time.
So the city, and it says city and POA, but ultimately it rolls back to
The
the
taxpayers
taxpayers.
or the POA property owners, right? So
Right.
3
Which
for
is
3 increase coming in the near future, tax increase coming in the near future. I don't know. Let me get my
You
crystal
betcha.
ball out. Yeah. Wait, my magic 8 ball says
That's not
chances.
you betcha.
Yeah, you'll betcha. Don't you know? So, but no, man, but I want to play this because like I said, this vote goes. They go in and they go and do the roll call and then they ask for the council members' vote. And Jerry makes a statement, but then votes, right?
This is like being in the schoolyard. You go to fight one guy, then there's 5 guys wrapped.
It's like being in
all
the
around
4th grade and Miss Brooks throwing an eraser at me, man. Back in the day, saying you better shut your mouth when I'm talking, right?
I had originally intended to vote no out of respect to Ms. Hernandez, but after the trail is being moved, I will vote yes.
You should just say yes or no, he said.
I guess, I'm an elected official. If I want to say something, I'll say something.
There you go, Jerry.
Advising the mayor, and it's up to you, Mayor, you run the meeting, I don't, but debate during the roll call is out of order and against the rules.
Yeah.
What a
Open it.
whiner,
I mean, he opens his mouth and creates more of a delay in procedure than what Jerry did.
Jerry was changing his vote because he realized they
He's just
moved
basically
the trail.
justifying
And that's
why
what
he's changing his vote
Right.
because they're willing to move the
Exactly.
trail, right?
And this is what I mean. They go and vilify him, and for he voted with them too. What's the problem, man? What are you complaining about?
Exactly. You got what you,
got your
wanted.
steak dinner.
You guys wanted, bro. But no, we're gonna right? Like
He's advocating for he's telling the mayor you don't have to listen to this, and he's over there giggling. I don't know what's going on.
Flynn, dude. Like I mean, like
But after the trail is being moved, I will vote yes.
it just cuts him off.
He's out of order.
You should just say yes or no, he said.
What is up with John Flynn, man? He's like, you just say yes or no, man. It's like I said, just like last week, man. It's like John Flynn's hanging out in the car with Cheech, man. I swear, dude.
Yeah, but it's got some Labrador in it.
What's Labrador?
It's dog shit.
What?
Yeah, my dog ate my
I mean, that's what it reminds me of,
I
man.
don't know what's going on over there.
I don't know what's going on either, man. Oh, well, we had our
Can't make
laughs
this
at
stuff
him, though.
up.
But I mean, dude, something going on with these people, man. I don't know. But, well, we're going to take a quick break, man, regroup, and let Mark get his
All right.
giggles out. But we'll be right back after a word from Nasty's Float Shop.
He had this idea. It was kind of a virologist's idea. He believed that you could cure racism and hate, literally cure it, by injecting music and love into people's lives. One day he was scheduled to perform at a peace rally. Gunmen came to his house and shot him down. 2 days later, he walked out on that stage and sang. Somebody asked him, why. He said, the people who are trying to make this world worse are not taking a day off. How can I? Light up the darkness.
And we are back from that short intermission. Did you get your giggles out?
Yeah, I did, man. That was funny.
It's Mally Wally and Labrador in it, man. All right, man. Moving
Cheech
on
and
to.
Chong's still going strong, man.
I know, dude. They are. Old Tommy Chong, dude.
He's got to be late 80s
Dude,
right
he's
now,
out
right?
there, man. So in international news, that impacts you, the American taxpayer, it's like the merry-go-round of insanity, man. Joe Biden's illegitimate child is showing up asking for $21 billion in aid for the Ukraine. Again, right? You remember this time last year, what did they do? They asked for, I don't know, was it 63 billion or something like that at that point? It was a boatload of money. The thing that bothers me the most, man, is the amount of money and the lack of accountability where this money is being spent. On top of it, the lack of accountability where these weapons are being deployed and used. It comes at a cost from the taxpayer, right? And we can't even provide appropriate aid to the people of Hawaii right now. But we can just cut a check, man, for billions of dollars for military and humanitarian aid for Ukraine as it fights the Russian invasion. Let's go over to this article on pbs.org. Zelensky is expected to visit Washington, D.C. as Congress debates the $21 billion in aid for the Ukraine. Coming over to pick up that jumbo-sized check, right?
He's like he's a illegitimate kid coming over to get some money to go get some candy or something. You know what I mean?
Can I get my allowance, man? I need my allowance, man. But
these guys,
and I'm not making light. I want to make sure I'm clear. I'm not making light of what's going on in Ukraine, right? War is war, right? People,
right?
There's a lot of innocent people who suffer because of the decisions of politicians and world leaders, but you have to ensure that your own people aren't suffering while you provide that support. And I don't see, $21 billion with the cost of inflation and the average amount that people are spending every week. Credit card debt's going up. People's savings are going
People are
down.
suffering out there,
People
man.
People are going paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, right? It's ridiculous that this is happening, and then we're still going to throw all this money, which could go to, I don't know, improving the supply chain, incentivizing the corporations to do smarter business to where it reduces inflation, stuff like that, right? Modernizing stuff. No, we're just going to throw it over here to another country and say, you guys do whatever you need to do with no accountability of those American dollars. It sounds to me like money laundering. It really does.
Yeah.
And on top of it, the fact that we don't have, we have very little operational awareness on what's going on, what's really going on in the ground.
Well,
there's no media coverage.
No video. There's nothing, Chris.
Right.
There's limited information, and what I've seen was just propaganda.
Right.
Yeah,
it's concerning.
I'm not buying it.
It's
man.
concerning as an American. It's concerning as a taxpayer. It's concerning as a veteran, and it's concerning as a father. Man, it really is. Are we mortgaging our child's future, right, for a Ponzi scheme? Because every dollar that's spent's got to. I mean, we're just leveraging debt for future generations. Is all we're doing, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a wise decision. And
this is wealth redistribution, man.
Something's going on. I don't know. I'm not putting the tinfoil hat on, man. It seems a little crazy, but I just think that when is enough, right? The American taxpayer needs to say, when is enough? If I was to keep my tax money, right? If I was to not pay taxes and focus on what I really need to be focusing on, and that's the pursuit of happiness, my health and well-being, the future for my family, and generational wealth for my family, right? I don't know. It's a thought that I think is crossing a lot of people's minds these days.
Yeah.
Why keep on paying to a government that is not protecting you by securing the borders, right?
Right.
Not protecting you by prosecuting criminals. They're releasing criminals.
Right.
Not doing their duty. Oh, hey, man, we have all these programs and divisions and departments, FEMA, and Department of Homeland Security, right? But we're not sending any aid to the people who are, was it Lahaina, Hawaii, right? That's, I mean, is this the definition of insanity? Trusting basically an abusive government?
Yeah.
I don't
it's
know.
ridiculous. You got to take care of your own backyard, man.
Yeah.
And that's why people have lost faith in the system. Here's another reason why. That doofus is going to show up, smile on his face, collect his check, and go back home.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be honored in the halls of Congress again, like he was last year.
Right.
I mean, at what point? I mean, weren't they talking about putting up a statue of Zelensky in the U.S. Capitol as well? At what point? It's like, wait, hold up, back that train up real quick. Hold on, right? I don't know.
Well, and we've seen some of the stuff that's gone on Ukraine, Chris. This isn't a democratic country, man. I mean, they control religion. They control just about anything over there, man.
Yeah, they do. But, we're going to, let's talk about humanitarian aid for the Ukraine as they're actively, throwing preachers and nuns in jails, right? And silencing people and, and forcing people into battle, right? On top of it. So, I don't know. It's food for thought. And hopefully you guys think whenever we exchange these stories and have these discussions, that's the purpose of this podcast, is to get people to think for themselves versus, lick the boots of propaganda.
Right.
All right, man. Moving along. That one's a downer. It's a downer. Josh Hawley brings the receipts to show Biden engaged in un-American censorship of U.S. citizens. Senate Judiciary Committee holds a hearing on book bans and censorship.
What I love about Holly, when he goes in there, man, he goes in blazing.
Yeah, he does.
He always says.
He's cavalier about it, too, man. He's so cavalier.
Yeah, he comes in, but, man, he just licks his chops, man. And that's what I like about him, man. He's organized. He's focused. He's to the point, man. And that's the kind of person you want, man. No hesitation. Boom, boom, lays it out, and that's it, All
right, well, let's go ahead and play this. Here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to the witnesses for being here. I think it's safe to say that all of you are here today because you are opposed to government censorship. Is that right? Have I got that broadly correct? Okay, we can agree on that much. Book banning is a form of government censorship. Is that, broadly speaking, correct? Professor Knox, you're an expert in this. Let me just ask you. Book banning is a problem under the First Amendment because it's the government telling private individuals, authors, what have you, what they can and cannot write, telling the public what they can and cannot read. Is that, broadly speaking, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So now, what if the books were digital only? Could the government ban them then? So no hard copies, no physical copies, it's just digital books. Could the government engage in book banning then under the First Amendment? No problem.
No, that's about a format of the particular book, and that really doesn't matter when it comes to whether or not government is banning a book.
Okay, what if the government made a list of authors whose books it wanted banned, and also went to all of the publishing houses in America, the government did, and said, do not publish the books by any of these authors or we will punish you? Is that a problem under the First Amendment?
My hope is that the government would not be involved in the decisions of a private company.
Good. I would hope so too, but apparently that is not the case in the United States of America today under this administration, because the hypotheticals I've just given you aren't hypotheticals at all. They've happened, and we know that they are happening. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals just ruled in a case, Missouri versus Biden. I'm sure you're all familiar with this. It's going to go down, I think, as a landmark case in the worst possible way in First Amendment law, because what the Court of Appeals found is that the White House, not just the federal government, but the White House actively coerced every major social media platform in America, let me say that again, every major social media platform in America to ban speech that the White House did not like. What are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about speech on the COVID-19 pandemic, speech on the 2022 congressional elections, speech related to mask mandates, speech related to vaccines. What did the White House do? Well, over a period of years, they met with, on a regular basis, the leaders of social media companies and demanded that the speech they did not like be taken down. They further demanded that these same social media companies amplify the White House's speech. Amazing.
What I would call this. I think there's provisions in our Constitution regarding this, Mark. It's called treason, right? I mean, dang sure not supporting the oath of office, man. Where's the impeachment proceedings?
How about the collusion? Unbelievable.
Where's the impeachment proceedings? Where's the Department of Justice? Oh, I'm sorry, they're too busy trying to prosecute Donald J. Trump.
Easy way to take care of that stuff is those companies that have been involved with it. You delist them off the exchange. You delist them. They're not publicly traded companies anymore. Bye bye.
It's pretty damning. It's pretty damning. But again, a lot of the general public doesn't know this, right? Because I don't know. Do you recall this news story running about this Missouri versus Biden?
No, absolutely not.
I don't recall it. I don't recall seeing the mainstream media pick up an iota of this story, and the fact that the Circuit Court of Appeals found it, right?
Right.
So we'll let Mr. Hawley continue.
These are cases like this that are across the country, Chris. This is going on across the country everywhere. It's just not publicized, and we have to dig that out for the people, man.
And people wonder why we don't support narratives via the POA, via Bella Vista Community Television, via the city, right? Is because there's propagandists running amok, right? They're going to tell you all the happy, good, feel stuff, but they're not going to tell you what's really going down. The amount of people at the planning meeting, I had a brief discussion with Councilman Jerry Snow earlier this week. I believe it was Monday. The amount of people at the planning meeting that didn't even realize the city was in a lawsuit was just astounding, right?
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. So these are things like, again, you try to stay informed, but how do you stay informed? It's by talking to your elected leaders.
Yeah, I guess they didn't send that internal memo out, did they?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. So, but we'll let Mr. Hawley continue this. A couple more minutes of this.
On all of this speech that we don't like, amplify our own speech. Unbelievable. What kind of speech are we talking about? Well, for example, not just public officials, but parents. Here's an example from my state, the state of Missouri. I'm reading you from the opinion here. One parent who posted on Nixdoor.com, which is a site operated by Facebook, posted an online petition to encourage his school to remain mask optional, found that his posts were removed without notifying him, and his friends never saw them. Another parent in the same school district who objected to mask mandates for school children responded to Dr. Fauci on Twitter and promptly received a warning from Twitter that his account would be banned if he did not delete the tweets criticizing Dr. Fauci's approach to mask mandates. These objections, amazingly, this censorship was taken at the direct behest of the federal government, the direct behest of the Biden administration. Professor Knox, is this a violation of the First Amendment?
Only a judge can make that determination.
And a judge has. I'm glad you said that. Multiple judges. The district court, federal district court, said there was a direct First Amendment violation. Court of Appeals unanimously, 3-judge panel, unanimously said direct First Amendment violation. I can't think of another time in American history when the President of the United States, and I say that advisedly because the record reflects that White House officials were sending emails and communications to these companies saying that the President himself wanted the censorship.
Yep.
So you've got the government doing exactly what Professor Knox said is not permitted under the First Amendment, directly coercing the speech of private parties, and not just one or two authors, but parents all across the country. Unprecedented in the history of this nation. So I'm glad we're having this hearing today. I hope that we will have more like it to expose the censorship happening at the highest levels of our government. Mr. Chairman, I'd ask that this opinion, this judgment by the Fifth Circuit, Missouri versus Biden, be entered into the record in full.
Without objection.
Amazing times to be living in, man. I don't know if
I know.
I don't
It's
really know
scary.
what more to say, but I mean, like we've been talking about this since we've done the podcast. We've been talking about censorship, controlling people's voices, but amplifying other people's voices. There has to be appropriate legislation that goes in place, and it basically needs to be, in my personal opinion, there needs to be an amendment to the Constitution, because the way that we speak, the way that we communicate has obviously evolved since 1776.
Right.
We're using digital technology, and there needs to be an amendment to the Constitution, I think, at this point, to protect online speech and online freedoms, right? To clamp down on corporations from getting in a collusion situation, which in this is directly reflects that the White House was colluding with social media tech giants who control pretty much every platform that you talk on, right? And then they're using technology to silence you, right? There needs to be protections for we the people who are also consumers of these products, period. Or they classify themselves as not the public square, but as publishers.
Yeah.
And then the people will either use that service or not use that service.
Yeah, I think in this case, it really needs to be, they have to dig down deep in here and find out how many people are affected by this, because, there was a concerted effort to squash people, and we've seen this firsthand.
I would say this: they've done it to everybody. They've done it to everybody. It doesn't matter how many people they've done it to. They've done it to everybody. They've taken somebody's voice out of your ear, right? Who might have had information that could have been beneficial to your situation and your family. But because they decided that it wasn't good enough speech, the speech they didn't agree with, they've taken that voice out of somebody else's ear and potentially caused damage to them. That's the way I look at this, right?
It's about control, man.
100%. It's about control. And I don't know, is that justification to not pay taxes for a year? Maybe. I don't know, right? I would see that as just compensation, right? Right? Man, you violated my First Amendment rights. I'm not paying taxes for a year, right? I don't know. Works for me. Does it work for you? I'd love to just not pay taxes for 1 year, right?
Right.
Be so nice. It's not reality, though, right? But I'm just saying, this has been founded in a court already, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come.
Oh, I'm sure there will be.
The only thing I'm worried about is, will there be accountability to come?
You hope so, but seeing that the track record here is nothing ever comes of it,
And another one with Senator Hawley. I got to scroll down to get the title of this one because of the COVID-19 labels that are starting to pop up on social media posts left and right again. Yeah, we're back into flu season. Hawley bombshell whistleblower allegations say that CIA team was paid to suppress COVID-19 origins. Check this one out, y'all.
For being here. Mr. Schellenberger, I want to start with you, if I could. I'm so glad that you're here with us today, and you're here at a significant time. I'm looking at a piece from yesterday, I think it is, that you published. U.S. intelligence dangerously compromised, warned CIA and FBI whistleblowers. You're not the only one to report this, of course, but I was reading your report on it this morning. This is something that you have been warning about for quite some time, and the allegations stem from a whistleblower who has come forward to the House, a whistleblower from the Central Intelligence Agency. I have the letter, the relevant letter here from the House Oversight Committee. The whistleblower alleges that a CIA team was paid to change its assessment of the origins of COVID-19. Do I have that broadly correct? Is that your understanding of the report? This is obviously a bombshell report, deeply, deeply troubling. I'm glad that the House is going to look into it. We should look into it. What caught my attention is you point out in your article on this that the government has deliberately violated the COVID Origins Act, which this body passed unanimously, which the House passed, the president signed into law. Maybe he wasn't so happy about signing it into law, but he did. It is the law of the land, and which required that all of the government's intelligence on the origins of COVID be made public. Instead, what the administration did was offer up a summary, which they then in turn heavily redacted. And you point out that in addition, the administration refused to report the names of scientists who fell ill at the Wuhan Institute of Virology in 2019, despite the fact they know the names. The intelligence community knows the names. Now, you're absolutely right to say this is a violation of the COVID Origins Act, and I would know because I wrote it. So I'm not very happy about the fact that this administration continues to flout, completely ignore public law passed, again, unanimously by the United States Senate. For what end, I can't tell. I can't figure out why in the world. I don't know what partisan gain there is to it. Why in the world they want to lie to the American people. You conclude your article by saying the government has become extremely comfortable with lying to us. Just explain what you mean by that, and tell us why you think this is so significant.
Well, sure, and just on the very specific point of we were the first to identify the 3 people that contracted the coronavirus in China. They were the people working on gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The Wall Street Journal confirmed our reporting 2 weeks later, and then I think it was 1 week after that or a few days after that, the ODNI report came out, and it did not reveal this information. And we had multiple sources, the Wall Street Journal. We have no idea if the Wall Street Journal sources were the same, but I think we're clearly seeing a lot of abuses of power occurring in multiple executive agencies. So
You hit the nail on the head. Multiple abuses of power in multiple executive
Agencies,
right?
Yeah.
Across the land. It's across the land. It's at the
But it
local
was in the-
level. It's at the state level. It's at the national level.
Who came up with the wet market? That's what I want to know.
Dude, I mean, I can remember having a
always
conversation
go
with
back
my
to the
brother,
meat. It
man.
always-
My brother was like, "This is a novel virus. These only happen. These happen naturally out of." I'm like, "Dude, this is a bioweapon, bro." It's probably not even. This is a psyop or a bioweapon. One of the two, man. You know, like one of the two, right?
Right.
But it's not novel, right? I'm glad that we finally have the origins of it. Well, quasi have the origins of it because, you know, I don't know.
Well,
I don't
keep
know.
in mind, people made decisions on this intelligence, man.
A lot of people made intelligence. A lot of people made the decisions on this, and people are still making decisions on not knowing this, right? Because I saw a news article just before the show. Arkansas is getting ready to roll out COVID boosters, new COVID boosters next week.
2 of them. FDA
Yeah.
approved 2 more shots.
So we're taking, boosters for something that was made in a lab, which means they already know what it does and
Right.
and how to eradicate it. Maybe they built it to where it couldn't be eradicated. I don't know, right? I don't know. I really don't know. This is just disturbing. The fact
Yeah.
that we did so much damage to the youth, masking children being behind on learning and speech and everything else. What this has done to small businesses, what this has done to the economy, because we didn't have solid intel. We had
yeah.
propaganda.
Oh, and you got a huge mental illness situation going on too. On top of that,
on
you know,
top
you
of
shut down the country for 2 years, man. You lost 2 years of everything, you know.
How many lives have been ruined? How many stressing moments? How many marriages? How many kids are going to grow up in a single family household or a broken household?
Right.
Because of the stress that was injected in these people's lives, because of knee-jerk reaction from BS intelligence to the point where somebody profited off of it, made money, right?
Yeah. Propaganda, man.
Yeah. Proud to be an American. Well, at least I know I'm free. Oh my gosh, man! It's just saddening, man. It's a sad.
Well, it's all
time.
coming full circle. Remember, we were talking about this. It's like this has got to be some. I mean, there's got to be people that know what's going on. And sure enough, every major agency, you know?
Every one of them. Yep. Yes, sir. All right. Well, it's the high ups though. It's not the people working in the agency. It's the high ups. Which brings me to a point, man, where people are like, this is an argument that is made when people talk about what's the big one, the flat earthers, right? People are like, there's no way that many people that work for NASA could be not knowing about like this, right? I'm like, absolutely, there's a way, right? Just keep everybody compartmentalized, right? This is how you do this. This is how they did the Manhattan Project, man.
Put them in a box.
You put them in a box. What's in the box? What's in the box? Right? You don't need to know what's in the box, right? You're not authorized to know what's in the box. You stay in your box,
you're told.
right?
Yep.
And,
Do what you're told, man.
And under threat of duress, right? Because if you want to know what's in the box, you're going to lose your job, your livelihood, your family, right? The whole 9 yards. So again, ask yourself, do you really trust everything that you've been told? I don't at this point, man. I honestly never trusted it whenever this narrative came out in 2020, man. So 2019. I was tracking it back in 2019, dude. I was like, something wrong here. Something wrong here. So, chaos is erupting, man, over in the New York City. This stuff is made in New York City. You would you would not expect a protest of this with but there's always one good thing, man, about New York City protests, and it's this: there's nothing like a New Yorker's accent, man. I'm walking here. What are you, some kind of moron, right? So I'm walking here. Wait, I'm walking here. Right?
There's 8 million people in Manhattan, man. There's freaking I don't know, 80 people there.
Well, when you're yelling at officials with that New York City accent, dude, it's it's the bomb, dude. It is awesome. I love it, man. So here we're gonna watch this.
They're all different, dude. I mean, it's the boroughs are different. Long Island's
but
different.
I mean, it's primarily a Democratic city, right? And chaos is erupting, according to the New York Post title of this. Chaos erupts as furious protesters heckle AOC during a press conference for New York City's migrant crisis. Listen to these people. You would think that you were at a Trump rally. You really would.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. No, you're good. No. Let's go talk to my friend Gino, man. Why are you manhandling him now, man?
Yeah, that's what is this? What is this here then? Yeah, barriers for who? For who? For us? For the United States? No, you come down. You're complicit in destroying our city. You come down, you oath breaker. You gotta go to sleep at night. Hey, motherfucker.
Like I'm watching a scene at Goodfellas, man. That little troll penguin right there, bro. Can't even hear what she's saying, bro. Them salty old New York ladies, man. I don't know, man. Are we sitting on a powder keg? Are we sitting on a powder keg?
People are done, man.
Dude, people are getting ready to pop.
Yeah.
It's like a can of Pringles, man. Once you pop, you can't stop. I don't know, man. I'm genuinely concerned for the future of our people, and when I say our people, I mean Americans, right?
Yeah.
If you came
Right.
to this country and you assimilated and you love this country, you're willing to lay your life down for this country, not just talk crap on the internet. You're actually willing to sign up and
Right.
enlist and go in the military, like I did at 18, right? Actually, I signed up at 17, man, delayed entry program. If you're willing to do that, then then you're an American. You will fight for this country when the time comes, and the time, mark my words, the time will come. It's just it's the cyclic nature of civilization, man. If you think
Right.
about, I mean, how great the Roman Empire was at one point, man, how vast it was, and now, nothing, right? Sometimes you get too big for your britches, and you let your alligator mouth overload your hummingbird ass, and it takes a bigger dude to stop you. That's some wise words from my daddy, man.
Yeah.
Is don't let your alligator mouth overload your hummingbird ass. And there's a lot of people in power doing it, and
Yeah.
they're
I
they're
think
just
people
they just think that people are just not. They're so distracted to where they won't assimilate and do these protests. Speaking of another protest that's going on, starting around the globe right now, Mark. Global climate protest demands world leaders phase out fossil fuels. Well, this is going to go over like a fart in church for our supply chains, right? Let's just
Yeah.
phase it all out, man. Phase it all out. Just go electric, 100% electric. I'm seeing these conversations take place in local community groups. People saying, well, yeah, we don't need truckers, right? If we just did rail for everything. Okay. If you don't have a railroad running in a close proximity, how are you offloading those rail cars? I mean, why don't we just go ahead and just say, well, why everything should be transported by boat, right? Yeah,
Right.
that's going to go over like a fart in church too. You can't. I mean, I get the goal, man, and that's to reduce emissions that we're using for transportation, et cetera. Well, if you want to do that, why don't you manufacture local and not ship across the globe, right?
Right.
How much
Yeah.
fuel is being used or energy is being used to take pigs from America over to China and pigs from China over to America?
Yeah.
Does this make sense?
Well, I mean, look at China, man. They don't care. They have done nothing to reduce their carbon footprint. They don't care.
No, we're not going to call out the big pink elephant in the room.
No,
now,
they
are
just
we?
ignore it like nothing's happening.
And
you
all
know?
these people are going to start 50 countries, man, from Friday to Sunday in a weekend of demonstrations demand that governments phase out the burning of fossil fuels, heating the planet. In a year of mounting deaths and economic destructions from record break. How about this? We know that the Canadian wildfires were set by people.
Yep.
I have a sneaking suspicion that the wildfires in Hawaii were set by people. California, those wildfires set by people, right?
I think there's a lawsuit
How many
too.
acres? How many acres of forest have been burned, and how much has that done to damage and create smoke and particulate in a warming effect for the? I mean, it's obviously not good for the atmosphere. It's not good for humans to breathe it in. I know that from personal experience, right? But I mean, we got all this other stuff going on, man. And all we're going to do is damage people by putting in knee-jerk policies like this and not holding other countries accountable, right? You can't regulate yourself to where you're not a functional society and then depend on another country who isn't following any of these rules.
Right. Exactly.
All they're going
One
to
of the
do is
biggest countries
offset
in the
it and
world.
ramp it up, right?
Yeah, they are ramping it up. They could
All
care
they're doing,
less.
and they're profiting.
Yeah.
They're profiting. So
Dude, a lot of these green initiatives are they're money makers. This goes back to the days with Gore. Al Gore was a big proponent of this. He's been taking money for years for the green initiative.
why don't we
And
get?
they're not viable.
You want to talk about it in a program, and that would be look at the individual carbon footprint program. If you're a politician, you shouldn't own 3 mansions and 5 yachts and private jets and be jet setting around the world. I mean, I brought this up on a podcast a year ago, I think. Jeff Bezos taking joyrides in a rocket, right?
Right.
With his celebrity friends. This penis-shaped rocket shooting up into the Earth's atmosphere for a 5-minute ride. But nobody's talking about that when it comes to, is this good for the climate?
Yeah.
No.
Right.
They're entitled to do whatever the heck they want.
We had a whole episode we were talking about EVs, man. You know, and we know the infrastructure is failing, man. Our grid's failing. And what are you going to do? Let's put more stress on the grid and have more people buy electric vehicles? Come on, man. I mean, it's like Dumb and Dumber, you know?
Well, and then the waste aspect of when these batteries have basically a finite life, right? Once the chemical composition of a battery just totally breaks down, there's nothing it's just a toxic chemical or a toxic block sitting around, right? How do you dispose of those properly? How do you recycle those properly? There's nothing green about that process at this point. Nobody's even thought that far, right?
No. Well, it's like nuclear spent fuel rods. You bury them, they freaking stay in the ground for 100,000 years.
Right.
And people are supposed to be responsible for taking care of those batteries. Hell, they'll go and dig a hole and bury them and throw them in there and contaminate the ground and contaminate the water. It just goes on and on. It's not a viable option. We've seen through this. They keep on pushing it. There was it just came out this week. Ford lost $4.5 billion.
Battery, I get the ambition.
EVs.
I get the ambition of doing the EV thing. You know, I mean, we ride PEVs, right? Personal electric vehicles. I get the ambition of it, and it's an enjoyable experience to be rolling through, you know, the woods on a totally quiet thing, not expending much physical energy, just enjoying being in nature, right? It's an awesome experience. But battery technology isn't at the level of ambition of these politicians right now. We have to focus on getting better battery technology, right? And better technology overall before we can make that shift. And that shift has to be something that is not detrimental in creating an inflation crisis, because corporations are offsetting the cost to the consumer, right?
And that's what they're doing. I agree with you, Chris. I totally agree with you. But we have grids that are failing, man. The infrastructure is failing. We have rolling blackouts across the country, man. It's not, you can't do it. You just can't do it. But they keep on doubling down. They want more.
It's like that, what was it? That girl on the Willy Wonka. I want it now. I want it now. That's a bad egg.
Yeah.
Anyhow, moving along, man. Oh, Hunter. Poor Hunter. He's back in the news. He's Miranda Devine. Hunter will face infamous laptop under oath. Well, this is going to go over really well. I'm sure that they'll have technical difficulties when this hearing's airing, if it even airs. You know.
Well, not only that, now they're going to try to get him for gun charges. Did you see that?
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna. I mean, look, man, I'm all for it, dude. I'm all for, you know, the rule of law. I've always been that way. But let's watch this. September 9th. Here we go.
Joining me now is Miranda Devine, New York Post columnist, Fox News contributor. Miranda, what more can you tell us about this deposition, and more importantly, why does it matter in the context of Hunter's additional legal troubles?
Look, I think the significance of this, Laura, is that this is the first time that Hunter Biden has to give testimony under oath about the laptop. And it seems...
I like how they bring up the under oath, right? But politicians who have been breaking their oath of office for years are never held accountable. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it, man. I'm not feeling there's going to be any accountability if he lies under oath. Not feeling it. Sorry. Call me a conspiracy theory. I don't know.
Things that he gave contradictory and very conflicting and confusing testimony. You know, he refused to admit that the laptop was his, yet he was saying that his privacy had been invaded and that the content was embarrassing to him. He refused to admit that he had been to John Paul Mac Isaac's.
You got a laptop full of you with hookers and blow, and you have the audacity to say, well, this is embarrassing to me. Yeah, nobody documents their adventures like that, man. Like, I don't know
Yeah,
what the guy
you know
is
what the
thinking.
sad part about this, and nobody says anything. An average Joe Schmo, Makazik? They said the guy that was a computer shop owner lost his business, dude, because of this crap.
Oh, he basically lost his business. He was demonized.
threatened his
People
life.
threatened his life, his family, the whole
Yeah.
9 yards, man. You know.
Wilmington Computer Repair Shop twice in April of 2019, despite the fact that his signature is on the work order, his contact details are all correct that he gave to John Paul MacIsaac. He doesn't have any explanation for how these things miraculously happened.
I got an explanation. It's the same explanation why they found a 8-ball of coke in the White House too. Don't do drugs, kids.
And Miranda,
throughout Well, I mean, look, I think it's obvious. Throughout, he just denied, obfuscated, said he couldn't remember. He's, I think, relying on the fact of his very famous drug use, which he wrote a book about, to try and get out of this, the reality.
All right, Miranda, the Daily Mail is reporting that Hunter was talking with his father's best friend, Ted Kaufman, just 3 days before he joined that Burisma board in April 2014. Hunter emailed Kaufman, who'd recently visited Ukraine, asking for his prediction of the country's upcoming elections. Miranda, quickly, what does that tell you?
Well, Ted Kaufman is sort of like the Svengali behind Joe Biden. He's been a loyal factotum for him, his chief of staff, and even sat in for him in his Senate seat for a while. He's a shadowy character, travels to Ukraine, seems to know a lot about that country, and certainly was a mentor for Hunter before he joined Burisma.
Well, could he be a conduit from Joe to Ted to Hunter? So Joe can say, I didn't talk to my son about this. But maybe he did through this individual.
100%. I mean, Ted Kaufman and Joe Biden, there's nothing between them. You know, they are joined at the hip.
Yeah.
And the wrap up, man. It's whenever you have a press, they have press briefings like almost every day these days, man. And
they don't last long anymore, man.
They don't, man. They really don't. There's nothing of substance, really. It
used to be they come out and listen to people. Now, if they don't like what your question is, they just walk off.
Well, and that's what she did, man. You know, here we go. Jean Pieta leaves the room while being asked about Joe Biden's involvement in his son's business dealings. Here we go.
Okay, one more. I'm trying to call. I haven't called on you. Go ahead.
That's great. On the memo that was sent out to news organizations about covering this impeachment inquiry, can you give us some background into the decision-making of why you thought sending that was necessary?
I'm going to leave that to the White House counsel from my colleague who sent that memo. Just laid out really kind of specifically as to how we see this process has moved forward, how there is no evidence. It's not even coming from us. It's coming from Republicans in Congress. We've been very clear about that. I actually think that memo lays out in pretty good detail of why we felt it was important to put that out. I'm just not going to get beyond what my colleague has shared with all of you. And with that, folks.
Can you explain why the president interacted with so many of his son's foreign business associates? More than.
And with that,
adios.
I'm out. I'm out. That's it. I don't work for you. I don't work for you, man. What are you talking about?
But here's the thing. They do press briefings. It takes about 35, 45 minutes to get everybody in there, settled in, and then they do this. Don't have the press briefing then. Don't do it. If you're not willing to
just put out your propaganda,
questions,
man. Hey, quit letting people out. Just put your propaganda out. That's all you're doing at this point.
Right. Right. People are trying to make a livelihood and get information and provide it, to their site or to their paper, and this is what you get, man. Yeah. More of the same.
Here's what she did.
All right, buddy.
Here's what she did. She did this. She did this to all them people sitting in that room, bro.
Come on, Bishop. Listen, let it go. My name Bishop Bullwinkle. I got the first church, nothing but the truth. What you say? Deacon Kyle, Deacon George, Deacon Clay. Open up the door, kind of blue.
Hold on, man. Have you never heard this? Have you never heard the Hell No 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 song? Oh, dude,
No.
this is clutch, man. This is clutch. What she did is they asked her a question and she just like, oh, let me get to the chorus. Get to the chorus, Chris. Get to the chorus. Here we go. I think it's probably right.
No, to the
No,
no,
no, hell no, no.
to the no.
And she just bailed, dude. That was it. It was done. Just grabbed her book and walked out, bro.
I don't understand that.
Oh,
if I was in the
man.
if I was in the press briefing room and I worked for, I'd just be like, why even go in there? If you're not in the first three,
So that's
three
one of the
rows-
things. Like, if the press corps actually were like, not propagandists and actually real
were
people, they would
legitimate.
just quit going, right? They would just,
Yeah.
we don't even care what you have to say. Like,
Yeah, because
the media is boycotting going to the press briefings. That would be the most.
Can you imagine
awesome-
if they called
like that would be a tell to
That'd
say,
be
okay,
awesome.
maybe the media is on the side of the people because they're not even buying this and they're not even spending money to send their people there anymore, right?
Right. That'd be the right way to do it.
That'd be the right way to do it. That would echo across the nation real quick, right? They're not trustworthy. We're not sending correspondents out there to even listen to their BS anymore. Pull the hell no, right? So, all right, bro. That's a show.
All right,
We
man.
went about 19 minutes over. Oh, intro about 15 minutes over. So sorry for keeping everybody a little late. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of stuff bouncing around in these noggins of ours. And opposed to popular trending social behavior, we actually use the stuff that's up in the noodle, right? We talk about things. We work it. Can you work it? Yeah, I can work it.
Amen.
All right, man. Well, we hope everybody has a great weekend. Stay happy, healthy, humble. Be nice to one another. Watch out for them crazies protesting the climate. Because climate change is gonna be. We're never gonna last 10 years. 10 years, we're still here. Watch it. Just watch out for it, man. People are. You don't know the situation that somebody is actually actively going through. You don't know their mental states. Be nice to one another. That's why I say it every week. Be nice to one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't put yourself at risk if you don't have to, right? I mean, that's another one, right? It's like, just allow people to act like nut jobs and just move along about your business, right? But also, be a person that if you see somebody in need, extend that warm hand out there and say, is there something that I can help you with, right? Be human. That's all we
Right.
want. We want people to just be human with one another. And on that note, Mark, you got anything?
Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you.
Right. So the next one, stay happy, healthy, and humble. Call your mama. We out.
Take a stand, everybody, come take my hand, come take my hand, walk this road together.